Hello, my name is Chandra Cost, and I'm with Beacons of Light, and I'm going to introduce you to Paul, and he's going to take over your name. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Grosso, and actually, my baptismal name is Apostoli. Um, that's from my Greek heritage. So I go by Apostoli or Paul, but more lately Apostoli because it just kind of resonates with my soul more in my culture. So yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And you want to go over some of your spiritual stuff that you have? You that
Yeah.
we spoke?
So right off the bat, what I try to do is pray with the water. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't look at my phone. I'll set my alarm off and I will meditate for a little while and visualize and affirm, because the first 30 minutes of our day and the last 30 minutes of our day, our alpha brain waves are super strong. So we're in a place of programming our subconscious mind. So a lot of people wake up, look at their phones or something like that. So I just try not to do that and meditate and see and visualize. And then I'll go to my altar and I'll pray with the water. And I'll load up my chanupa, my pipe from Peru, and I will put my mapacho and some different herbs in it, and I'll sit with it. I'll light my candle to have my altar with the water, with the earth. I'll show you guys a little later, with the water, with the earth element and the fire. In the air. So it's the alchemy. That's what an altar is. You can see in a lot of religions, Christianity, Orthodox, whatever. They all have an altar. It's all the same thing, and what it correlates back to is alchemy, right? So
Yeah.
it's the altars there with the fire, the water, the earth, the wind elements, and coming together to construct alchemy, which is us. So I sit there, I pray with the water, and I smoke my pipe, and I pray with the smoke. And when I inhale the smoke, I sometimes I'll let it out without inhaling. It's more potent if you let it out without inhaling, because if you inhale, it's kind of like you're being selfish. I've heard. And when you exhale the smoke without inhaling, it's like sending it out to the people, and your prayers go out to the great mystery or source, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, like some yoga. I don't practice that much yoga anymore. I do still like meditation, some yoga. I need to get back into that. I just got certified in yoga like a little while ago. But I just been sitting with my altar and some other spiritual practices, just playing music and being mindful and being grateful for life and being grateful for this moment. So yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, beautiful. So were you always like this, or did this change?
I came right out of the womb like this, playing a didgeridoo and everything. No, so this is a story in itself. It's so like graduating high school, about I started getting like pretty sick with eczema, and like my skin is clear now. You could have seen me at really bad eczema. I actually came out of the womb with like a really bad case of eczema on my leg, and I was put in a bubble for a little while, and I had some asthma growing up pretty bad, and then it turned into more eczema really bad. I was suffering pretty bad for like 6 or 7 years, and it just got worse. It got worse, and in the meantime, I was partying, drinking, smoking to try to get away. And to try to fit in with the crowd. And I love to dance, so like, I would go out and do whatever and drink, party. And I was suffering for a long time, really bad. It got to a point to where like one summer I was almost bedridden all summer, laying in bed, like pussing skin, bleeding, like couldn't sleep, scratching myself. Like I couldn't really walk because the back of my legs were pretty messed up. And I was just suffering so bad. I went to all these different doctors. They put me on all these different pharmaceuticals, and it made me worse. And I felt horrible. Like it was the middle of the summer, like 80 degrees. I was in my room with a blanket on, like shivering, like freezing, like all messed up. And so like I used marijuana to try to like get an excuse, like, oh, I can't sleep without it, blah, blah, blah. And I just keep on digging myself in a deeper hole. And then I have an aunt who lives in Hawaii, And I haven't told the story in a while. Wow. So I have an aunt that lives out in Hawaii, and my parents were like, "Damn, there's nothing helping you, Paul. You mean like maybe that would help you to get away from the winter, get away for a little while?" And so I went out to Hawaii. And before that, I still wasn't doing too well. I threw away all my pharmaceuticals. I wasn't taking them anymore, but I was still kind of like flaring up and having bad flare ups. And then going out into Hawaii, I was still smoking weed and whatever, kind of on like a lost path. And one day it brought me to the point to where I just remember I was like sitting on the beach playing my drum, and through like smoking a lot of weed, I had like a really bad nervous breakdown, like super bad. Like I thought, like I don't tell this story that much. I haven't told in a while, but like I was playing my drum and I was singing, and at one point um I had a freak out. I remember I ran back to my aunt's and I was like panicking and my heart was racing, and I remember like I woke up in my mom's arms, like I thought I died, you mean, and like I died or something, you mean, like my heart was racing like crazy. My mom had me in her arms, and I woke up and I was like a little freaked out for 2 or 3 days. But then ever since that day, I Paul died. You mean the old Paul died, and it was beautiful because ever since that day I started looking for God. You mean I was like looking for Christ, looking for God, looking for love, or looking for this answer. You mean looking for this answer. So I started getting really into like my Christian faith, and like that was like the doorway. You mean going to church, and then I started getting into meditation, meditating on the beach, doing yoga, started eating better, and then slowly over time doing the research, looking for God, looking for God, looking for God. I mean, chasing this thing, and then I started looking for enlightenment, right? And then just learning all these different things and techniques, and coming back to my breath and realizing that we are the medicine. And then down the road, I was always been a musician, but getting it more into like a holistic way. I went out to Spain and got certified in sound healing, where I learned like overtone singing, different techniques, to open up different energy channels. And then I started getting into plant medicines like cacao, rape, sananga, and I started facilitating that. And then it just kind of like everything just started coming to me as I surrendered more, and I just showed up as this authentic self of who I am. You mean the Paul who I was before wasn't Paul. It was like a programmed kind of like sheep, you mean, going with the pack. And I'll tell you the one biggest point in my life, and I think this is like a good thing for everybody, is like are you gonna because I had to cut out all my friends. You mean when I got back from Hawaii, I didn't resonate with my friends anymore because they were going out to the bars, they were just doing the same old thing. And there was a point in my life where I was like, okay, am I gonna go and fit in with the crowd, or am I gonna sit at home alone and meditate and go within? You mean, and that's the hardest thing, is a lot of people are afraid to sit alone and be alone. So I was alone for like a year or two. I didn't have many friends. And then getting in the conscious community here in Chicago, going to ecstatic dance, yoga, blah blah, meeting the soul tribe, and just from then just flourishing um and just stepping into my purpose. So yeah, wow.
No, but that's an amazing story. So many people are gonna resonate with that and understand. I understand parts of it, and wow, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the whole point is to reach people and to find a community, like you said.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is so important. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
And it's interesting now. I feel like the more we step into our purpose and the more we step into awareness, we realize like our family and other people, like they're just kind of like, I love my family. I still live with my parents and like I have a close family, but it's hard because they don't see the truth. You mean sometimes like they're pretty glued to like the news, and they believe all this stuff and like their phones a little bit, which I kind of am too with my phone, but I try to do good with it. I'm
Yeah.
not purpose. I try to surrender to that because I'm like, wow, I get a little in my head sometimes about technology, which I'm like, okay, it's going to be for the good. It's going to be for the good. That's all I can say. But that it's a hard thing. like my one uncle said, holding medicine is not easy. So yeah.
I understand that. And yes, the electronic, all of the high tech stuff. I mean, it brings us together if we use it the right way, but it can also be very negative, and we want to be positive here.
Yeah, of course. Because what there's not negativity doesn't get us anywhere. I feel like there's logic, which can be negative sometimes.
Yes.
Like a logical thought can be negative, but we can counteract that with like faith. So it's like there's someone just be like, well, I'm being logical. Well, it's like, well, I don't know. I don't feel like logic got us to where we are. Like faith and the vision, right? Like think about back in the day when like there was like oppression with black people. And it was like, how do you think they got to where they are? They weren't just logical, like, oh, well, I'm not supposed to drink from that fountain. I'm supposed to sit in this chair. You mean I'm not supposed to sit here. Like logic never got us anywhere. You mean the faith and the vision gets us to where we have to be. So yeah.
Yes, I agree.
That just came out of nowhere, but I thought that was a pretty good one.
I like it. It's good. Very good. And so you how did you go about finding a community? Did you
So that's a good question. Ecstatic dance in Chicago, like what I would do is I started going to like yoga a lot, and that really helped me. And in Chicago, we have a nice community here with ecstatic dance, and like I would play my drum, and I'd meet people there, or just like basically playing music. I met a lot of people through the conscious community. Pardon me, like playing music. And now I have a nice community here where we practice Native American like spirituality, sweat lodges, ceremonies, peyote ceremonies. And I actually went to a vision quest, which was so beautiful. And I went like 4 months ago, and a couple of my friends who I didn't know that well before, but now we're super close because I went with them for a week, and we stayed out in the middle of the woods in Indiana. And what a vision quest is in Lakota spirituality, or Lakota, there's different tribes, but Lakota traditions is a vision quest. As you go up on the hill, there's an elder that puts you up on the hill, surrounded in prayer ties with tobacco, and you sit there for 4 days fasting and water fasting, or just fasting in general. You can't have water, you can't have any food, and you go up there, and it's such a beautiful experience because I just went there to volunteer, but it was so beautiful just to sweat every night and pray and chop wood and like go out in the middle of the forest with like a chainsaw and like chop wood, cook food, be in that community, be with nature energy. And it's so beautiful. And I met a lot of really good friends that way. And this is the right people come into my life. Like my one good friend, Sam, I record with him all the time, and he's amazing. And I do a men's circle with him every Thursday. And it's just these more deep connections. And you met this like surface level. That's the hard thing I have now is with family and some people is like surface level relationships. But I came to the conclusion that I don't need to have a deep connection with everybody. I mean, I can just meet everybody where they're at, and I don't have to go deep with everybody. I mean, I don't have to pressure or preach to anybody because no one likes a preacher. Like, who likes a preacher?
Yes, I agree. Yes, I totally understand you.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that's a wonderful experience. Wow.
So in April or in May, actually, I'm gonna go out on the hill for 4 days with my Native American shaman Raul, who's been mentoring me and teaching me. He actually taught, like, I learned a lot from my friends with my altar and just simple things. I mean, he's amazing, and he's gonna put me up on the hill. Wow. And I'm not scared because I had some friends, like Lakota traditions, you go up for 4 days, 4 times. And my friends were doing this other thing where like a couple people went for 4 days and then they like build it up. You go for 4 days 1 year. The next year is 7, 9, 13 days, which I think is crazy, but they were doing it. Like my one buddy went out for 7 days. My other friend went out for 4 days in darkness, in a inipi. So I'm like, I can do 4 days, like sitting there, blah, blah, blah. So.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do 4 days. I would like to.
And you know what it is, though? It's just a training, I mean? And like, you just sit there and you kind of contemplate, and it's a thing, you mean, and you know what it is they say, like, when you're fasting there and you're not eating, is you get a vision of a spirit animal or something, and then that spirit animal kind of is like a correlation, or
Yes.
yeah. So
Yes. I love,
thinking about it now, I'm getting nervous, but
I could see why. Oh, but to have that, oh, the connection you would have with that spirit animal every time you see that. Yeah, wonderful. Wow. Um, so do you want to take us and show us your altar, your ceremony?
yes,
That would be
yeah,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah. Let's see if you guys can see it here. I might have to turn on the light a little bit. Oh, you're perfect. Let's see. I'm gonna turn the light a little bit on. Okay, so let's see if you guys can see this here. Okay, so here's the candle, which again is the source. The water, that's the medicine, the cacao I keep, that I serve. So what I do is I keep on this altar all the medicine that I serve. The sanangas right here, the rape, the mapacho, and then I keep this medicine here because I try to keep, what is it, just like an awareness, and try to keep love with it, and pray with it, because to connect with the medicine more, because that's what it is. If you serve medicine, you basically have to connect with it and become one with the medicine. So rape, when I first started doing rape, I did it like maybe 3 times a day for like a month or something, which now I don't do it that much, once in a while, but I serve it to people. Then sananga I did for like a month straight. That was good. And then cacao I just connect with all the time. And then I have my feather here, which is turkey, goose, red-tailed hawk, and then a parakeet feather. And then I have my pipe from Peru. I have my bag here with my grandmother. And then I have my other bag here. This was given to me from my friend at the Vision Quest. And then just like some other earth elements, like some different paintings, Never Give Up, a flute. And yeah, this is just my altar. And then this is a poderosa um, feather. So I have the bird nation here, the earth, the wind, the fire, and just have it all. And I sit here with my pillow, and I usually keep my hat and my ceremony clothes here. And then what I'll do is I'll put my hat on, and I'll smoke the pipe, and I'll pray, and I'll blow it on the water, and I'll dip the wand in the water, and I'll tap it with the 4 directions, and I'll salute the 4 directions, because the 4 directions is it goes back to our DNA. It goes back to the circle of life. There's a lot of aspects with the 4 directions, and actually there's even 7 directions, as the natives say. So, but I just go with the 4, but there's 7 too. So yeah, here's my altar. And yeah, you guys want to see it again, but I think you guys got a pretty good view of it, huh?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I love your feathers. I love feathers. When I find,
Oh, I know.
I love to find them when I'm out.
They say it's like, they say if you find a feather, it's like a message or something.
Oh,
Which I kind of like take it with a grain of salt, but
yeah,
so.
wonderful. And you said you do that every day, morning and night, and kind of do a
Yeah.
meditation.
That's been more of my ritual. And what I try to do is I try to pray for the people. And like I feel like sometimes when I'm saying that now, like pray for the people or something like that, like it's like for some reason I feel like it's like I'm bragging, but I'm not. You mean? Do you like? I don't know why that just came up, but like, right? It's like,
Yeah.
but I try to pray for the people because the people need it, and like I'm in a very privileged place. Like I live with my parents. I've made some good investments and just different things, and I can live my vision. I can practice music all day. I can do my dreams, you mean?
Right.
And like I pray for people who are suffering, you mean, without water, without the financial stability. And I've actually done service trips to Greece 2 times to work with kids from Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, who are who don't have parents, who are what's that called? Orphans. And I did meditation, I did yoga with them, I did some sound journey stuff. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty interesting to see a didgeridoo for the first time for them. So yeah, just coming back to gratitude, because there's nothing. I'm so grateful, you mean, and just seeing these kids who had nothing, their houses were bombed, they had nothing, and just to see them so happy, and see the people in America with just all this stuff, and they're sad, you mean, they're lonely, and I'm not perfect. I get lonely, I get sad, and you mean, like all this stuff I do, I still I'm not perfect like all of us, but I pray for the people. I mean, I pray for my family. I pray for the water. I pray for people that don't have water. And it just, again, with that smoke, that intention goes out to the creator. And I stick with my vision. So, yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I pray for people too.
World needs it.
Oh, I know they do. Yep. There's a lot of hurt and bad, and I agree. Yeah.
People need it. And it's like, I feel like before COVID, people were hurting.
Yeah.
And now it's just it's all out.
Yeah.
It's on the surface. It's like, and I feel like for stuff to change, it has to come out on the surface.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So do you want to go over some of the stuff that you have and your pages and your website?
Yes, you guys can check out my website. You can book a session there. We could work one-on-one over Zoom, and I could send you the sananga or cacao. We could do a little ceremony over Zoom. You guys can, if you're in Chicago, you can book a session with me and come to my house. And you guys could check out my music on Insight Timer, like it, share it. And then soon I'm going to be getting up Spotify, which I'm going to be releasing a sound healing album, a flute healing album, and then my one single Viva Medicina, which I'll be releasing a music video too soon. And when you go on the website, you guys can subscribe to my email channel so you guys could get like up-to-date stuff. You guys could check me out on Facebook, Instagram. I post a lot of stuff on there. And yeah, and I'm so grateful because my vision, like, I feel like a lot of people have said COVID's been the worst time ever. But for me, like, again, I've been in privilege, but it's been the most flourishing of my life. I mean, like, I started traveling for gigs. I've never did that before. Like, going to Texas and helping facilitate with ceremonies and doing my cacao ceremony and playing music. And then in May, I'm going to Belize for 10 days to go over there. And it's just so exciting. So yeah, just check out my stuff on there. She's going to pop some links after this. So you guys can check those out on the page.
Yes. Yes. And I forgot to add all this at the beginning. So I'm sorry.
It's fine. No worries.
Make sure they get everything.
Yeah, they'll get it. No worries.
Yeah. So wonderful. Is there anything that maybe I forgot that you would like to add?
Oh, I think a cool part to talk about is I think the deepest medicine out of plant medicines and spirituality and everything, I think the deepest medicine and the deepest connection to who we are with our soul level is going back. That's why I tried to talk about like Apostoli. I mean, I try to go by Apostoli because Apostoli brings me back to my Greek heritage. And I feel like people in America are just lost because they don't know. They're like, oh, I'm just American. I'm Irish, German, blah, 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 blah. But they don't know. They don't know the language. They don't know the food. They haven't put their bare feet in the ground where their ancestors are from. And knowing your culture, knowing all that, it opens you up and it sets you to this path. I mean, like I think that is very important. So my mother really instilled in us growing up, like the Greek language, like I speak Greek fluently. I teach Greek dance. I sing Greek church, blah, blah, blah. I own a house in Greece, like, which I want to be doing retreats there in the next year, which I'm going to do. That takes time. But I just want to leave you guys with that is ask questions, find out where you're from. That's the medicine. That's the medicine. Because people in America are lost. without whatever you can, anybody can debate me. This is just my point of view, but I
Right.
feel like without culture is like a foundation. That's
Yeah.
why like I don't have a partner, but I would love to like marry or be with a Greek girl to like speak Greek, teach Greek to my kids, bring them back to Greece, like Greek dance, and like having that structure. It's a foundation, you mean, of like a house. Like a lot of people are just kind of lost, and then they define to this American culture, which is just consumerism, I think. America's a great country, don't get me wrong, a lot of opportunities, a lot of good things, but in America to flourish you have to have some sort of culture, because if not you just get lost.
Right. I agree. My great 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 grandparents came from Germany or Russia
Okay.
from Germany, and my grandmother, her stories of everything, but I don't know the language.
Mm. And it's fine. Not knowing the language isn't a big deal. Like, but like just at least knowing where you're like,
Yeah.
because like my grandmother on my dad's side is lost. My dad's Americanized, lost for him. Like he's Chicago. He doesn't speak Italian. He's Italian and Polish. That's why like I just refer to myself as Greek, because like I am Greek. You mean I've been back to Greece. I've lived in Greece. I've been to Greece. I don't even know how many times, but like knowing where like my village, being in my village where my grandmother was born, and knowing the lineage back to Crete, and knowing just where it all goes back, and my ma like has a family tree, and knowing where it all went back. um so yeah.
I think that it people are catching on because there's sites that people are looking for their ancestor stuff.
Exactly.
And I think that's part of the awakening also, finding
Yes.
your old family,
Your roots.
your roots, yes, and then finding a new family that you fit in. And that's what I would love with this. And with you, somebody is going to resonate with you and just connect with you, and they're going to reach
Mm,
out to you.
sounds good.
Yeah,
I like this is the Greek in me. It's like the passionate, you mean, like the fire.
right.
uh, so I'm dyslexic. So growing up, again, I guess one last thing I could say is like growing up, school was really difficult for me. And I always thought I wasn't smart. I always thought I was dumb because I didn't fit into the classroom. But just getting out of that program and realizing like I'm smart, I'm a genius, whatever you want to say you are, you are. But just like one of my strengths, like I can't read well, but like one of my strengths is connecting with people, talking to them, listening them out, like actually really listen. I know I'm talking a lot here because it's an interview with me, but
Yeah,
usually when I talk to people, I listen more, but this is a little different. But like actually getting to where people are from, and holding some space. And I'm real, this is one of my strengths. So, um, yeah.
that's good. I think every person is smart. They just have to find out what it is they're
Mm,
interested in, because
exactly.
then you want to learn, and the knowledge, oh boy.
It's there. It's YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
YouTube
everything.
it.
There is a website, the technology, it can be used for good, like we were talking earlier.
Hmm.
You can find anything and everybody, and it can be used for good.
God, it's like a never-ending pool,
You know,
or like I don't know about a pool, like a never-ending dimension of information. It's like the internet's like the universe, right?
yeah,
That's a cool. It's ever expanding, right? And right now, this is going on the internet. It's like it's ever expanding.
yes,
Whoa, that was cool. But yeah,
that is. I never thought of that. Beautiful.
it just came in the moment here.
That's your spirituality coming in, and I love it. Yeah.
But yeah, and the Earth Elders page is beautiful. I've been posting stuff on there like once a week, and the community's great. And people are so supportive. Insight Timer is a very supportive community too. Um, yeah, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. And that's exactly what I want to be here at Beacons of Light, is supportive, encouraging,
Mm.
helping people find their helping them find their group, their
Mm.
support group. teachers,
Mm-hmm.
friends.
It's so important. It's really important. And yeah, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, I think we're going to change. The world's changing, and for
It's
the
changing
better.
fast.
Going to take a while.
Yeah, it's well, like a lot of native tribes and a lot of people are saying like this has been set in stone, like the Great Awakening. And I feel like I don't agree with religious texts because I feel like religious texts spread fear. And I feel like, and this just came to my mind right now, but like I feel like a lot of the religious text in the Bible is like, oh, like the great flood and be afraid the sinners and blah blah blah. And I was just thinking, I was like, fuck that. Like, nah, like, no, I don't agree. What does that do? Like, I feel like a lot of the Native American spirituality and all the other indigenous tribes have like said that like there's a mass awakening, you mean? And like I don't agree with the Bible stuff. Like I think there, to be honest, I love Jesus and I that got me into spirituality. And I pray to Jesus sometimes too, but like I don't agree with the flood thing because I feel like it's just spreading fear, and I'm
Yeah.
not down with that.
But what if the mass awakening is spirituality like this?
Yes, that's happening.
It
It's
is.
happening. It's crazy. I got in the Uber the other day, and you should have heard the conversation I had with the Uber driver.
Yeah.
He was like a like I started talking a little bit. He's like, "Oh, do you meditate or anything?" I was like, it was cool.
It's a safe subject.
So yeah,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your coming on tonight, and we're going to get all your information out there and people that resonate with your story and your healing. Oh man, when you sing and do your music, it is healing. It's beautiful.
thank you.
And you're very talented. I mean,
Thank you.
you play a lot of instruments.
Thank you. I know, and it's hard nowadays being a musician because like I'll be on like Instagram or something and see like good musicians doing crazy stuff, but I just have to continue to say to myself like everybody is unique in their own way. You mean? And I feel like a bad mindset would be like, oh, like this person's better than me, and I just have to just continuously like be like everybody's unique, everybody's got their thing, and because I'm not perfect. You mean like I play all these instruments, I do all this stuff, and like I still have a little healing to do. And I
Yeah.
think the healing is around like, I think everybody has more healing to do with confidence. You mean like I'm confident, but like everybody's always got some healing to do with stuff. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I thank you. And yeah, the services I offer like is I do the cacao ceremonies in person. Um, and that's more of a ceremonial setting, but then I could do it too where I serve cacao in a ceremonial setting but with more of like a movement feel, so we can like feel in the cacao. And so it depends on what the group wants because I could do more like a grounding healing or like a movement one. And yeah, so
Well, you're very talented. I just
thank
want,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're
That's what I
welcome.
was meant to do. I'm in my purpose. I mean, I was born to do this. So
Yeah. And I can tell you just you glow, you shine, and it's wonderful.
thank you, love.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for watching us on Beacons of Light here. And you can find a spot. I can't say your name. I'm sorry.
Apostoli.
Oh, yes. Beautiful. I love that name. Does it
It
have
means
a
all
meaning?
the apostles. So it means all the apostles. So
Wow.
not just one. It's like all the apostles, all the 12 apostles.
Wow. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.